This is Shannon White back again with the Happiness Project, and today I'm here with Gary Strauss. So, what does happiness mean to you?
Well, I could tell you right now I'm pretty happy. I just did a beautiful meditation with about 100 people. That was sweet. That just doing that. Uh, Humanity. I think when I'm in my humanity, I'm just organically happiness is a normal natural state when you're just being. I think that's the organic place we should be. And that happiness is not, I should define what I mean by that experience. It's just an effortlessness of being here.
Hmm.
So when I'm in that, I feel happy. I don't, it isn't object related. It's not on the material plane. It's more a spiritual thing to me.
Love that.
Yeah.
And if you were to teach people something about how to cultivate more happiness in their lives, what would you teach?
Well, when you say that, what I think about is the Dalai Lama. And I think focusing on the stories of people that find goodness in life would help you to find goodness in life. There's no doubt. Knowing him and knowing his life has helped me. He says the most important thing is compassion. And I'm not that far off. That's to me, that's a very heart oriented. And a lot of happiness to me, I think, is about a free heart. Having freedom in your heart feels that's just everything in some way. At the earth plane, that's my idea of happiness. But knowing that, look, we all, like he, the reason I love him so much is because he's been through the most intense things in life. And in spite of it or with it, he's able to just be a person that's interested in a flower or a child or something, anything in the moment. And that, when I think about him, I think about that. Then I think, I do two things. I go, oh, everything really is okay. And then I just feel good. So I think, you know, my friend says this thing that when we are consumed with survival, it's hard to be happy. We could be grateful, but it's hard to be a little happy when you're consumed with survival. So it's good to take care of your survival needs and then to focus on just being a person. The greatest thing that helps me, there are two things. One is nature, because nature restores humanity, I think. But I think people in the right way restore humanity. I think like what we just did, this meditation with all these people, everybody's like smiling and laughing. How do you not feel good in that? So many ways to get there. Maybe everybody should be Italian. I think Italian people don't give a shit about anything. They're going to have a good meal and then they're going to be happy. And that's the purpose of life in some way. I always thought the Italians had it over everybody in some way. Like they don't, yeah, who cares? A little bit, right?
Right. Did you ever read Eat, Pray, Love?
No, I didn't. But I kind of have, been around it, but I haven't. But it's the same, probably the same thing, right?
Yeah. The eat portion is she goes to Italy and just lives in pleasure for months in Italy.
Stop it. We need it. We need that. That helps. It helps you feel good. When I go to Switzerland, it's like that for me. When I teach there, or just that's why I want to go there because I just feel it. I'm like, oh, same thing. But like whatever it is that does that for you, I think it's your job a little bit to make that a discipline of life to be in the things that make you feel like that. Because in the end, I don't know what else is there but to cultivate that.
Yeah.
There is a really cool book. It's called Happiness is a Choice. You know that one?
I don't.
Barry Neil Kaufman. And he says, but it's to me it's the same statement. The statement of that book, but it's a very well done book, is that you have a choice. And to experience choice is really important. When you're not experiencing choice, you're captivated on the horizontal plane by something that has power over you. When you're in choice, you're like, so what? So there's this, there's that, there's all these things. Not, okay, I still have choice. I could do something. When I experience choice, I feel happy. That's a big one for me.
Yeah. So if you were to offer the people at home a tip or technique to help them cultivate more happiness that they could do, what would you offer?
Go to nature every day. Beach, mountain, your backyard, down the street, there's a tree, some grass, something. I think when you feel good, it cultivates happiness. And I feel good when I go to the beach like today, I couldn't get to the beach. We have fires. Our street's closed and I couldn't go anywhere. Everywhere I went, it was closed. And even when I did my meditation, the fire engines were on my street. But I went outside and I worked out outside and I felt the air and I just breathed and I was feeling the warmth of the sun and I just felt good feelings. Even though there's things going on around us, if we find a way to create a little connection to nature or a connection to our own heart, and have a conversation with our heart and our self about being happy, then I think that, and the more we do that, it's like a muscle. Happiness, in Barry Neal's book, I think he's on to that same idea that happiness is a muscle and the more you use it. And you can choose to be happy, like, we just shut our school down for the umpteenth time. Our doors are closed and we're actually giving up our physical building right now. We're moving out of our physical building and we shut our school down. And this has been going on for a year. So I have a choice about that. And my choice is to enjoy the time. I've been waiting to have more time and space and now I have it. So I can choose that, I think. So like this moment could be, oh my God, it's terrible what's going on in the world. Yeah, all right. It's a little old.
Yeah, we've been doing that for almost a year.
It's old. Shut up with that. No, the world is changing. We're in a different moment. And it's going to change and it's going to go through this shit. And it's gone through this before and it'll do it again. So we could just enjoy the ride a little.
Yeah.
There's a movie that I talk about called Parenthood. I don't know if you ever saw it with Steve Martin.
Oh, a long time ago, yeah.
There's a moment in that movie. The whole movie, Steve is a paranoid, neurotic wreck. And he's turning his son into a neurotic wreck. And his dad was Jason Robards. He's this overbearing guy. And Steve has always felt inferior. And so he's very nervous. And he's with his grandma, who's about 4 feet tall. And she tells him this story that his grandfather loved life and just always chose to have a good time. And she said, and some people get caught up in life and they have a miserable time. And she said life is like a roller coaster. If you fight it, it's going to be awful. But if you let yourself go with it, you could have like the best moment, like ride the wave, right?
Right.
Which is very, that's Buddhist or. And then there's a moment in the movie where he experiences that and he transcends and he feels happy and he stops being neurotic. I wish it was that easy for people.
Yeah.
Like it is in a movie like that.
Depends on the person.
Yeah. But everybody can have a moment of that and every moment creates more of it. And it's relative. I think freedom is important to happiness. But it's not always freedom. It's freedom of your heart. Because we're all indentured servants here. We all got to pay taxes. We all have to. Oh my God, I feel like a servant in my life. I pay the insurance company, I pay the taxes, I pay for the payrolls. I feel like an indentured servant sometimes, right? So, and I've chosen that for sure. I'm not, it's not befallen upon me. I could choose not to do that. But I could also choose to like, yeah, that's okay. That's just what life is. That's what you do. This is the game. So play it. Or play a different game too. You could play it.
Right.
When I was younger, and I still like this idea that if you don't really want anything, then you have everything.
Yeah.
So that helps. So if I were to tell people, I would say stop wanting shit. I would. I think it'll make you happier. You don't need it. You don't need all the shit that you want to be, that you think, and I've done my share of this, you think if I only had that, I'd be happy. Never happens. Doesn't work. Wanting begets wanting. Not needing begets freedom, and freedom begets happiness.
Yeah.
And so I think all of that is kind of a discipline a little bit, and not to get caught up in the world. It's not terrible. Sorry. The world is not terrible. It's changing. Change is inevitable.
Yes.
So I would tell people not to want so much. Spend time in nature. Practice loving people who you don't like. And definitely be extra kind and loving and caring to the people you really care about, and let them know that you care and love. Don't take anything for granted. And practice enjoying whatever the moment has in store for you. I think the more you do that, the happier you are overall. I think that the time that I spend struggling helps yield more happiness. If I'm open to the struggle and I go, oh, okay. I learned that backpacking, because sometimes backpacking with a lot of weight on your back is really hard.
Yeah.
But it gives way to exquisite moments of just peacefulness. So for the longest time, I was addicted to that. I would just, any chance I get, I'd fill my backpack up and go off into the wilderness and just reap moments of exquisite happiness and spiritual well-being.
Yeah.